If you ever seen the movie The Wash with Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, it's pretty much like the same thing. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new here, what's up? So today, you know what you clicked on. I'm gonna tell you about working at a car wash, what it's like working at a car wash. Now, I started at this car wash when I was 16 years old, you know? It's my first job ever. It was one of those car washes where the car it stops outside. There's two people that vacuum the car out, sell the person to wash, send the car through. There's one person in there that walks around the car and sprays it with a power washer, and then it goes through the car wash, you know, and comes out like wet, you know. And then there's dryers up front, you know, and people dry them off with cloths and stuff. It's one of those car washes, you know, and they do detailing and all that stuff. I ended up working at this car wash for 6 years. I know, 6 years. Like, why I worked for 6 years is probably because, I don't know, I just got comfortable, you know. And by getting comfortable at a job, it's a dangerous thing, because you won't, like, you end up spending like a majority of your time there that you don't want to spend, you know. And I hated this job with a passion, but I clung to the job, you know. So I was just like, I didn't get why I stayed so long. Maybe it's because I thought I couldn't get nothing better or something. I was getting paid crap. So this was back like years, like early 2000s, you know, early mid 2000s, you know. And I started off getting paid. Minimum wage back then was like $6.15. And then, I know I'm probably old, you know. But when I left, I ended up getting a raise to $7.50, you know. You think your minimum wage now is bad now. Back then it was horrible, you know. And this car wash was so backwards. Like, if you ever seen the movie The Wash with Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, it's pretty much like the same thing. Like, I love that movie so much because it represents like where I work. It was exactly like that. Like, we had like Snoop Dogg was selling drugs at work. We had one of the workers selling drugs at work. All the fucking dope boys, you know, would come through there. It was right in the hood, so all the like big dope boys would come through there. I had a crackhead / alcoholic boss, you know. He was the manager. In the wash, there's this guy called Mr. Wash. He's like super cheap, you know. He'd sit in the office all day. His name was Mike, you know. He'd sit in the office all day and just not do nothing, play with his little golf thing. And the crackhead manager would like run the car wash. He'd give orders and stuff, yell at us. I hated this guy. I never thought I could hate somebody so much, but I hated this guy with a passion. Like, it's like this guy had it out for me for no reason. I do my job to the fullest, and he just tried to make it 10 times worse every single day I came in. Like, he'd give me the shittiest jobs there, you know. I think one of the reasons I stayed there so much because the tips were pretty good. Like, the tips were way better than the paychecks, you know. Like, some days I could leave out of there with, like, you know, $80 to $100, $40 on or $40 to $30 on a slow day, and I'm working like 6 to 7 days a week, you know. And the tips are really good, you know. But the whole car wash was just like crooked. That crackhead boss, like, he'd go in the okay, they got like an office area, and he would go in the office area. The customers would give him the tip to give to us, like the people who are working on the cars, and he'd just stick the tips in his pocket. And we'd catch him a couple times, and he'd act like he didn't know, you know, when we confronted him, you know. And like, there's like people would come in there with the like, you won't believe how people are with their cars. Like, they're freaking nasty. I'm not just talking trash. Like, some people would come in there with like food stuck to the floor, like food, chicken, pizza stuck to the floors, and we had to clean it out, you know, throw up, all that. That was like the nastiest, dirtiest job I've ever worked in my life, you know. Another con that sucked really bad, you know, is sometimes you didn't even get 40 hours. It was based on the weather, you know. So if it rained or snowed, where I live it snows, you know, the car wash closes down. So there goes your hours for the day. You might get like an hour or two. Sometimes it rains all week and you get like 10 hours, you know. And then, you know, when it's really slow, you know, they have this thing called cutting, and it's not like where they like actually cut you. It's like the crackhead boss comes in there and he picks favoritism of the people he likes best. Like, you could be the hardest worker there, he doesn't give a fuck. If he doesn't like you, you're out of there, you know. So he'll come in on a slow day, and he'll come in like he'd always show up late, you know. He'd show up late, drunk, half drunk, you know. He was like this old, like 50-year-old man, you know, and he was just like an asshole, you know. He'd be like, you go home, you go home, you go home. Like, he had the power to just, like, this car wash was so backwards. Like, they had people that were working there that weren't even like legal citizens. Not like that, you know, do your thing, but he'd come in there and kick people out like on a slow day, and you just have to go home and come back the next day. And I seen people come and go out of there all the time. People were quitting on like their first few days and stuff. I was like known in the neighborhood as the car wash boy. Like, everybody around the neighborhood knew me from the car wash, you know. And the crazy thing about it is, like, throughout the years, you know, I actually picked up a second job. I worked a night shift at Cub Foods, and that kind of ties into some of my stories before, you know. And with the night shift, I was making like $11 there, you know. $11 at Cub Foods. Cub Foods is a grocery store, if you don't know. And then in the daytime, you know, I was making like $7.50 plus tips here and there. I was so cringy back then. Like, I thought I was really making some money, but really it was even out to like a normal paycheck. I was working 30 hours at the grocery store at the night shift, and then in the daytime I was working 30 to 40 hours at the car wash, you know. And you know, I have no clue why I stuck to that job for so long. I hated that job with a passion, but I stayed there for so long, and I got treated like trash. Like, the manager would put me on the dirtiest jobs. Like, the people who would come through with like food stuck to their floors and stuff, we got this thing called shampooing, you know. We shampoo your interiors, your seats, your floors. It was just, he'd always be like, Bender. They called me Bender around there. Bender, go ahead, you do that, you do that, you do that. Oh my gosh, there used to be this cool dude named Yusef, though. He was this African dude. He was like older, and he used to always tell me, like, go to college, man, get a good job, do your get out of here, you know. And I didn't want to listen to him. I was young, you know, and I ended up staying there from 16 to 22, you know. Now, like, there was ways to get like more money. Like, in the back, you could sell car wash. This is pretty much like stealing, but it was like way back then, so I don't even care, you know. But in the back, if you're the one who drives cars into the car wash, you know, you sell the washes to the customers. So, you know, they weren't paying me nothing. So I tell like the customers that always come through, I'd be like, hey, give me $2, $3, give me $5. I'll put the best wash, you pay for the regular wash. I was hustling back then, you know. I needed money, man. I needed money bad, and some days I leave out of there with like $120, you know. So the tips were pretty good, I mean, back then, you know. But all in all, it was a horrible experience. Yeah, and then another thing, sometimes, like, the owner actually stopped this after a couple years. Like, sometimes, you know, the crackhead boss, the owner would leave right at, like, after we stay open for about 10 hours every day, and the owner would leave after the 10 hours. And the crackhead boss would stay open after hours and have people, you know, customers come in, and he'd sell them washes under the table, and the customers would hand him like hundreds of dollars, and he'd pocket that stuff and just make us work off the clock and then say write our hours down, but we wouldn't get paid for it, you know. I don't know, man. That was the worst job I've ever worked, and I feel, thinking about it, like, oh man, this all ties in. If you haven't seen my stripper video, I dated a stripper. That ties into there, you know. I was working there when I was dating a stripper, you know. I don't know, like, looking back at that experience, I wish I would have changed working there. But yeah, that's just my car wash experience. I want to share with you guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.